Hello,
Oh my
ladies
God, and
and
I'm blurry.
gentlemen, witches and wizards, and time travelers. Hi! Welcome to Nom Watch Review, where we discuss the latest movie or a milestone in a really, really awesome film. I'm your host, Alejandro Cowie, today, and I will be discussing, along with two great guests that I will be introducing shortly, why nomming on some great treats such as a Baja Blast. Let's go into a delicious steak dinner chips. They're freaking fantastic. And sneak some Pocky here. Now, along with me, I'm going to introduce our guest. First off, hello, Carla.
Hi, I'm Carla. I'm just kidding. I know how to speak to a camera. Hi, I'm Carla Isabel, and I'm really excited to be here. I really, really am, even though here is my home. I will be drinking some ginger ale and PB&J for the special occasion because of the movie, and chips.
Excellent, excellent. Sounds delicious. I love the PBJ sandwich. And our other guest, Toni.
Hi, I too can speak to cameras. And today I'm going to be partaking in liquid death. Always love the fact that they made it look as close as possible to a can of beer. Love that. I'm also I was like trying to be super healthy and like, oh, I'm just going to be on grapes tonight. But then Carla came in with the PB&J. So then I screamed downstairs to my sister to like bring me an Uncrustable. So,
Oh,
my God, it's like
the Uncrustable went.
it just went away.
Ooh.
That's amazing.
It time traveled.
Exactly.
It just fabricated out of nothing, out of nowhere. It's all part of it. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Excellent. So as you see, we have some delicious noms. And well, I guess let's start off with our discussion. So first of all, I want to go ahead and see what you guys rated it on the popcorn bucket scale. Carla, what did you rate it?
5.
Excellent, excellent. And Toni?
Right off the bat.
I gave it a 4.
4. Fantastic. All right. And I gave myself a 4 as well. We're just going to have that preface wise, and we'll go back into that a little later. Tongue tied. Anyway, so first of all, I want to go ahead and touch base with the storyline. I personally find the storyline like great. To me, I'm a sci-fi nerd. One of those things I just fall in love with anything that has anything remotely family related and science fiction. I do believe that influence. So when it comes to the storyline of Meet the Robinsons, I fell in love with it. But we're going to go off with, for example, Carla, I want to start off with you. How are you introduced to the movie? When did you first see this?
I saw it in DVD, so I didn't really go to the theater. So I think it was bought something at a Walmart back in my hometown. And I want to say that I was like 12 or 13. Wait, when did this movie come out?
15 years ago.
7.
Yeah, Tim.
So that sounds about right. So it was like 13.
2007.
Okay, so it was about like 14, 15. And it's just such a feel-good movie. So I think I enjoy it because it reminds me of simpler times or when I was still at home. So
Definitely. I can see that. I get a lot of family feels in the movie, so I totally agree. Toni, how about yourself? When did you first see the film?
Well, I was in college, like in the last years of college. I was 23, so I definitely would have seen this in the theaters. And fun fact, the song that plays over the end credits and the whole end sequence,
yes,
that used to be my song for like my like first ever like long-term relationship, just because I just felt
oh my God,
it's a really good song. It's really awesome. And usually like in those situations, like when you have that breakup, you're just like, F that song, it's dead to me, I can never listen to it again. I still love it because it's such a good song that I'm just like, those two things had nothing to do with each other anymore.
Look, I can still love it.
Such a good song. No, but I remember like loving it. Like, spoiler alert, my the reason I don't give it 5, out of 5, and it's 4 out of 5 is because I just feel like it's not enough of a movie. I feel like there's so much more that I wanted out of it.
Okay.
Not satiated. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I you know what? That's a good point though. I mean, you do feel like as if I'm not saying it puts you on a cliffhanger, but you want to definitely learn more about the family. I mean, it's just there's so much more. I mean, from the what is it, the pizza delivery galactic awesome man Adam West himself that delivers pizza intergalactically. That's fantastic. Like it felt like they could do a show on him just in general. So I definitely agree with you. Man, Carla, you're making me feel a little old. You said you were like 13 or 14 when you saw the film. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I think I was like 24 or 25. So
Well, you asked me. Also, that's a good perspective, Tony. I wasn't thinking about that. Like you needed more. I guess I can't change mine. Can I? Maybe like
well, no, hey, actually make that note. Do me a favor and hold that because we'll later ask if you're going to change your rating. And ultimately, after a further discussion, we'll see if that actually alters it. Because who knows? We might bring another point that might change your mind again too as well. But hold that.
I'm getting this now. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. No, don't apologize. It's exciting because like we want to like definitely touch base on a lot of things. And like see now I want to further that. So let's think about this. So now I want to look into something here. If we're going to look at let's go on to the Robinsons in general, right? I mentioned Uncle Art. Like it seems like a series could be done on him in general. Let's talk about Franny Robinson. Okay.
Yeah.
Could she, like a possibility, we're going to start with you, Toni. Do you think she herself could have like a series or just an episode or two just based off of her?
I think one of these. I mean, like, I really did feel like, of course, 2007 was a completely different time in terms of like the media landscape. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, this would have been pitched as a show. This would have been a series. Yeah. This would have been, like we would have all been sitting here loving season 1 and we're like, what is season 2 going to bring? Yeah, because it totally could have just been Meet the Robinsons, adventures of like focusing on each of them individually, because they're all interesting. Even like the two, like, who are the flower pot people? The two uncles,
the cousins.
Are they the cousins? Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing is, the cousins, they were not, and no one knew who they're related to.
No one. Yeah.
They're just there in the flower pot. Is that just like a general chilling spot? Is that where they sleep? Like already just so many questions that are never answered. And even if it just ends up becoming sort of like, did you guys ever read like Wayside School books? Or is that like
a little familiar?
Like Wayside Stories from Wayside School, where it's just like fantastical, nonsensical stories and nothing is really explained. It's just
producer Steph is screaming in the background going, yes.
But it felt like that. Idea. It's like, here's all these strange characters. We're not going to explain a damn thing, but they're so endearing just because they're fun.
No, totally.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely feel like that about all the Robinsons. So I just want to warn you now, if you're going to go down the list, I'm going to be like,
yes for everything. No, I can see that. I can do that. I mean, honestly, I even want like an episode, because I'm a little greedy, off of Tiny the T-Rex. I mean, come on, that like right there, I would be happy if we had the life of Tiny just being articulated, going around and analyzing things in life, what he is, which he actually is like super tough. The fact that he like parkoured off that wall and bit down on just like flying saucer was definitely a feat in my opinion. But man, I digress. Along with this, let's see here. I like, for example, Carla. To me, if we were talking about where you would put the storyline here, would you think this could be compared to? Because personally, could you look at this as to be, what would you say, like an Odyssey, a tale of sorts? Where would you put this in your opinion? Like, where would you go along with the storyline in your opinion wise? Do you have a category, or I don't know? I
think of it as an origin story, because I think it's an origin story, and that's why we're left with wanting more. It's because this is how, a troubled little kid who is stuck on the past doesn't see what's in front of him, or what, because the pivotal point in his life was in that sphere. And if he would have just kept on, he was like minutes from meeting his entire family, but he was so caught up in the past that so I think it's an origin story, and that's why I'm not kept wanting more, because I've made peace with the fact that that's what it is, and I'm not going to get more, and I accept it. Okay. But that's where I see it. It's more of a origin story for Lewis.
See, Carla, Toni, why do both of you have to make this complicated? Because at first I was like, okay, I want to go ahead and like learn more, and then I hear a little bit. Oh, both. Okay. Now, question in that regard with this here. Let's go into talking about the origin story of the origin story in general. I definitely want to go ahead and touch base specifically on these characters. So, for example, Toni, in your opinion, could you say that Wilbur coming back to meet, let's say, oops, spoiler, his father, Lewis, do you think since it's been him going back in time to touch base with him, do you think it was meant to happen that way in the first place?
So, okay, we are in a post-in-game world where now like the normal rules of time travel are just like completely up for grabs.
Exactly. That's why I was like, I'm just curious.
I don't. I mean, they do kind of show that there is sort of like the ripple effect. They do show that like if Doris, the evil bowler hat, does get its way, it can go back, affect an event in the past, which then affects the future. So, okay, like it does ascribe to like what we become used to in terms of the time travel rules. Was it meant to do that?
Yeah.
I think this is probably a universe where the multiverse is a thing. There is a universe where Wilbur never went back and, Lewis completely, totally became Tom Selleck without actually looking like Tom Selleck. But it just so happens that in this one, this is how Lewis, it's probably just like a fixed point in time where Lewis has to become that person, and somehow, some way, just the different permutations of chance and fate and free will just kind of just always manage to make sure that he becomes who he needs to become.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. All right. So I yes. Yeah, I'm a big nerd. I had to do it. I mean, as you said, the time travel thing has been baffling me, and there's a lot of rules and things that I see that don't necessarily follow your standard time travel rules in this film. But honestly, I'm not bummed out about it. I just think the film, in my opinion, was cute enough to let it happen and slide. I was just like one of those curiosity questions to see if anybody else was like, do you think it's funky? Another thing too, going into this as well, we're going to go ahead and make a segue into a little bit of, I want to look at the characters. I understand the story is going to kind of be just a broad range here. But thank you. I'm going to look down here to one thing that I love doing, evidently, and missing the comments. So all you guys that are making great comments, let me do a backpedal here. I'm sorry. So going back into the comments here, scrolling up. Let's see here. We have. All right. So producer Rob, I got big head and little arms. Eva mentioned, hey, this movie is cute and the ending makes me cry in a good way. Oh, so much feels. I agree.
Every time.
Boba Fett LV makes a comment. Hello, peeps. I never watched the movie before. Maybe I should. Oh, you should. It is such a fantastic
right
film.
now. Right
yes,
now.
Do it. Do it.
You need a Disney Plus code? I can give you my code right now.
Look at that. All of us. We all in agreement. We can definitely take care of you. You haven't seen the film for sure. All right. Once again, guys, thank you for watching and appreciate you bearing with me. Didn't mean to purposely ignore the comments. I didn't see that blacklist. All right. Let's see here. Going next. Sorry, this is a little technical difficulties on my end. So, all right. So, and I'm going to shoot over to you, Carla. Question in regards to acting on the film. I know you gave it a 5. I have to ask your opinion of the acting, though. Has anybody really stuck out the most to you, or anybody like you have a favorite character per se that really gives you, I'd say, positive memories?
They all just sound good to me. Wilbur maybe sounds a little older than the 13-year-old, but I mean, who am I? Do I know? Or maybe he went through puberty already. But no, Tom Kenny's involved, which is a huge fan. But no, everyone down to the gym teacher, I am like, oh, cast it correctly. Nothing really takes me out when I'm watching it. Like nothing like kind of like destroys the illusion,
Okay, good.
I'm invested from start to finish. But one part, and maybe we're going to mention it, but if
Oh,
not,
no,
I'll
please
bring it back.
go ahead. No, please, by all means.
Okay, and I'm asking this with all sincerity to both of you. So
Okay.
remember when Wilbur and Lewis are fighting because he takes him to the future, because he's like, take me to the future. I don't believe you.
Yes.
He does. And
Right.
then he's like, well, why do we have to go back to the science fair? Why can't you
Mhm.
just take me back home?
Uh-huh.
Back to the to meet my mom. And like Wilbur's like, "Er," which is ridiculous because they're flying. There's no tire tracks for them to be there. "Er." He's like, I'm not gonna fix that stupid memory scanner. Okay, so that happens there. And it's like, no, you have to. But in his mind, Lewis is like, no, I'm not gonna do it. When at the end of the movie, when he confronts the bowler, Doris, he says, I am never going to invent you. And then it disappears. Why didn't that work in the past? Or am I missing something? Did I miss something?
I think. Well, Toni, I have an opinion. Toni, do you have an answer?
I want to hear your opinion first.
Okay. So, my opinion, in that moment, because also from what I've seen in time travel, it seems like the individual that, let's say, that is having a focus on has to really change their mindset, who they are in that time being, to actually alter their future self or the future. So that being said, he was clueless about he actually created Doris. He had no idea that he created Doris any way, shape, or form. And in fact, it seemed that he was afraid of most of the time, because Doris was doing nothing but like popping on heads and just just taking over things, which funny little arm comment. But anyway, in that regard, I believe that he finally understood that he created her or the creation, and felt from inside and was able to, like, from every fiber of his being, like, I wish I never created you. I didn't want, and I believe that was strongly enough mentally to control whatever in the future and like cut it off. Because I don't think he knew that he created, like, for the long time. So that's just an opinion. That might be too much into it, but yeah.
No, that's deep, and I needed it because it sounds it's a little kids movie. It's meant for kids, but I like that. That gives me okay. So, whoa, that's deep. Like, you have to know who we really are in order to have an impact on our future. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Wow.
Sometimes I think too much. Some of my anxiety kind of kicks in. And
okay, I like that answer. Thank you. All right, I'm good.
Toni, what were you thinking? I saw some brain cranking. I'm kind of curious if you had an opinion, that is.
No, I mean, if you remove, because like Doris's entire plan is essentially if they get rid of, if they get rid of the brain scanner, and if it's not Lewis's invention, because they still want the brain scanner to work, but they don't want Lewis to have the confidence, right? Then he doesn't become the person that he's supposed to be, and therefore these things don't happen, but they already exist, so they can already. So it's a lot of like bouncing back and forth, which is why time travel is like sci-fi's version of magic. It just fixes everything.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see that.
No rhyme and reason to it. Yeah. So especially once you start getting into like, well, if you didn't do this, then how does that affect that? And then wouldn't that also? And because this is a relatively short movie, they don't really get into the mechanics of the time travel and how it works. So we can't really make an in-depth like analysis of it. All we can really do is just speculate. And time travel, again, if you're just like, change thinking past, change future. Kids can follow it, adults can follow it. We don't really have to get into it. But once you start picking it apart, you're just kind of like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute, what's actually
right? That's why we were yelling at each other for like a year straight after Endgame, because we were like, wait a minute, I don't think that's what's happening.
Didn't work out. Yeah, exactly. I can see that for sure.
Okay.
Oh my Lord. See, I like these questions. See, Carla, you brought it up at a good time, because that actually leads me into a different question here. Let's go ahead and talk about Goob. Goob as an individual. It's interesting because I think Goob could be a perfect example of somebody that could have went in a different direction if they didn't unhealthily obsess over one thing. and that one thing was one person, being his downfall. But we'll go into Toni, if you'll start off. What's your opinions of Goob? What's like what really lit it out?
I mean, first off, the Goob twist, like I knew it was coming, but I was like, there's no way, because the only thing that these characters have in common is that they are white and brunette. There's no way. Yep. And so when, spoiler alert, at the end, whenever, you know, Bowler Hat guy is monologuing, he rips off his cape, his fantastic cape, and he's still got the Little League uniform on. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is happening. This is what Goob has become. Which is bold, because you basically took like the cutest little character in the movie. Yeah. And he grows up to be easily the most grotesque and unsettling character, just even visually, even though I love him and I think he's awesome and amazing, he is visually like, he's unsettling to look at. Like, I used to work at Disney, like at Walt Disney World, and whenever that dude would come out, like kids were not happy to see him. Like, it's very unsettling to see in real life. So I love Goob. I love the fact that he just has, even when he's like telling Louis like what happened, like they all hated me, and he just has a completely skewed like perception of what happened.
Yeah.
Like, hey dude, how you doing? Hey, do you want to come to a party at my house later? Like,
I like your binder.
Right.
And he's just this, that's such a he's so obsessed of the one person he was like horse blinders, right?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
And I just love that they took it there, that it's like, no, this little kid, like, first just at his end, like he's like just like mainlining coffee and espressos like on just a consistent basis, and it's like precious but also concerning.
Yeah.
And he just like this one baseball game, and isn't it how it always happens, like one baseball game and it's like the one thing they talk about for the rest of their lives, and they just blame it on the one thing, and it's just like that's not at all what happened. You just became obsessed, and you just decided to become this distorted, bitter individual, and now you're trying to end the world with a sentient bowler hat. Like, it's just, all right, man, yeah, you do you, live your truth, I guess. Like, I don't know what to do.
Right?
I do
Carla,
have
go ahead.
something to say. No. So I think this is like a paradox, because Goob doesn't really know where to focus his anger until he hears it from his older self. So
that's another, no, good point. Yeah.
So, and so I was like,
yeah.
So
because like he didn't, that's right. Didn't talk to anybody but the machine. It was only him and here on the radio. It was just his own thoughts. Yeah. Go on. I'm sorry.
And has a very toxic relationship with Doris, because he thinks that Doris cares for him. And then they're like, oh no. And Doris is like, come on, stupid, get it together. And then he realizes that, oh no, he was being used, and I just feel for him. And
no,
the
sure.
most concerning thing about it all is that they closed the orphanage down, and he is still there. Didn't no one notice?
How does he live? Like the time collapsed. I'm just like, you know what? No, we won't. You know, we talk about like little web series, like what kind of diabolical web series could figure out how Goob survived? I want to know. All right. All right. Chat, tell us if you want to like a little story on the demented side of Goob. Let us know, please. Speaking of chat, going into exactly. So, for example, Boba Fett LV said maybe I wasn't supposed to watch this because of spoilers, but this actually helped me want to watch it instead. Laugh out loud because I had no clue it existed. So,
here's a big spoiler. He can tell you action for action what happens in that movie, and it's still like it's a completely different experience. Like it's just not compared to actually seeing it and experiencing it, because it's just like I'm just trying to like think of like how do I even explain, like at one point the sentient bowler hat pops onto a dinosaur, and the dinosaur then has the ability of speech.
And people will still be like, what?
Like, what does that look like? What does that mean? Like, it's still not as good as actually seeing it. It's a completely different experience. So, like, if anybody is actually like, well, maybe I won't. Like, no, you need to, because it's just
we haven't even broken down the family.
No, exactly. Shoot. Oh wait. Oh my goodness. Before I forget, more comments here. Mr. Corn Dog saying hello. I can't really do both of those things, but I'll try to. What's up, Mr. Tiny Corn Dog? Going into comments here. Eva mentioned she loved that part. Poor kid, in regards to when Goob was actually having a conversation with himself and realizing who he was. In there as well. Let's see here. Let's see. It reminds me, we're back to Dinosaur Story. Dinosaur Story, good movie, which we will touch base a little later in the future. But yeah, I know it's interesting because like Goob, once again, it just seems to be two excellent points both of you guys made. It just seems to be one of those things, if he just listened, or realized the people around him were more helpful than that, maybe his, path wouldn't be as diabolical. But I don't know. There's something very endearing about the bowler hat man, though. What is it? I mean, he's creepy as all get up. But what is it? The innocence in his eyes? Yeah, thank you. Yes, exactly. Okay, it's just the naturality of innocence. He's ignorant. He's not stupid. He's ignorant. That's
to be evil. He's not actually evil.
No.
And it's so
no.
cute how he tries to be evil. He tries to be diabolical and nefarious, and it's like, yes, you are.
Exactly.
So cute.
And-
yes, you are.
And when you see the movie, you're like, oh, he's the bad guy. And you're like, no, he's not. He's not the bad guy. He's not the bad guy. Don't judge a
Exactly.
book by its cover.
No, totally. And speaking of
I
storylines,
also think it's
Oh,
just
sorry,
the fact
go on.
that. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, like,
no,
just the fact-
please go on. No, go on.
his monologue is all based upon the fact that like what he wanted was to be adopted. What he wanted was just to be like celebrated by his peers. He wanted to be able to like catch that, that pop fly.
Baseball, yeah.
He wanted to be able to just get a good night's sleep.
Oh my gosh.
He wanted very simple, positive things. And it's just like, it's really sweet and cute. And even when it's like his evil plan is on the unicorn binder, it's like, how can I not love this man? Like he's just precious and adorable.
Oh,
And and the fact that even though he's like in his 40s, very rough
Yeah, 'cause
40s, he's
I would
his
say,
still
little
like,
curl, his hair curl.
he's just a very stunted 8-year-old, like just
Yeah.
like an 8-year-old in a
Or-
middle-aged body.
And he has that like dang uniform. What the hell? The baseball uniform that he's still somehow stretched out.
I know.
Oh my god.
And I love how like
He's
even when
lazy.
he's younger, he's more precocious and intelligent. 'Cause he's
Yes.
just,
I was about to say.
Yes.
like literally like the first real lines of that movie is him just like going on about like how he just like totally disapproves of the strategy of like the team and the coach, and he's just like, come on guys, just like get it together.
Let's play some
Like,
baseball.
yeah.
I feel like I feel like they just gave the mic to this kid and let him speak. I don't think that was scripted at all. It feels like unscripted to me. It really does. I'm like, here you go, kid. And
Yeah, just like I
oh.
loved how articulate he was. It was great.
yeah.
Definitely. And then the fact that like he's like that throughout the whole game. Like it seems, that's a great point. I mean, he's extremely intelligent for his age at the time being. And it seems that the more obsessive he gets over hearing things over the radio, over, the man himself, he gets more and more frustrated. And like it's like his body outgrows his wits. He doesn't try to do anymore. That's a good point.
He regresses to the point where
Yeah.
he can't even, but he's still funny. And I don't even know if it's like wit, because I think he's like unintentionally, because he's like, it's like when he shows up to the meeting in order to like pass off the invention as his own. And he's like, oh yes, I'm the 2 o'clock. And it's like, the receptionist says like a woman's name. And he's like, yes, Ms.
Marion.
Yes.
Mary.
Like,
Mary.
Mrs. Marion? Oh, Ms. Like, it's just like,
That was my favorite.
Oh, me.
Oh, that was
such a
funny.
cute moment. But he has a lot of moments like that where it's just like, I don't know if he's intentionally witty. I just think that he's just trying to make the best of the situation. He really doesn't know what but then it makes sense because it's not his plan. We come to find out that it's not his evil plan. This is all Doris's plan. Because Doris is just a hat, and Doris is like, well shit, I can't talk to these monkeys, essentially, like these like lower intelligence monkeys. I can't talk to them.
Yeah.
What do you think Doris said to him? How do you think Doris lured him in?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was about to ask about that. I love that. Oh my god, I'm gonna have you guys on here more often. So
Me and
just in
Toni.
regards to, I'm just saying. Now I was going to go into that. Doris, for being a character that essentially has no verbal lines, is very like articulate in her own sense. And I don't know necessarily how she takes over the brain. I don't kind of want to, considering the fact that
It's
the
scary.
bowler hat seems, I know, right? Because all you see is mechanical arms and all of a sudden I don't know. That's some high tech stuff. But to me, Doris doesn't need to talk. It does. It baffles me how much you can tell what Doris is thinking without saying anything. I guess that's my main thing. I don't know in that sense. Do you guys think Doris could ultimately be good at all? I mean, is it a possibility, or you think it's that, sense what they said in the beginning, like, I wish we never created you concept? Do you think that can ever been changed at all?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I love what that just happened. Oh my God. You guys both are just like
singularity, right? Like, she is like the AI. She
Yes.
is the one that's like, these humans are just like, they shouldn't be running things at all. They're just unintelligent monkeys. I obviously should be the one in charge of everything, and therefore I will be in charge of everything because I can. Like, it's just, again, just trying to make it, I think, accessible for kids. And even though it's like, I don't think kids are watching a lot of Terminator movies or a lot of like movies about like robots gone
They
bad,
will.
but it's such an ingrained like idea and concept in our
Yes.
in our society that I think kids can get it. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if like there's ever an instance where it's like Doris is just a really, really helpful hat the way she was meant to be. I think don't let your machines think like this will be the end of us. This right here. Like,
Doris.
No.
it's over for us, man. I'm sorry. We let them think. Yeah.
I think it was just a failed experiment, another one of Lewis's. Okay. So and unfortunately, this failed one was the one that that was it. This was like the one out of a million failed ones that.
So you're saying that if he had actually done his job like as well as he thought he did, she would have never been.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or
I like that.
I'm a very optimistic person. I will always be like, but no, like
we are
like, but
people,
no.
Carla.
He can do it. Give him a chance.
I'm like, no,
he can change the hat. He can change him.
See, I like the fact that both of you are on opposing sides, though. If you think about it, on one hand, there's a lot of people that constantly say, no matter what, in regards to, let's see. Oh, Lord, the comments. I want to hop in here. A lot of funny going back and forth with people here. But Eva mentioned before that the funniest thing about Goob is when he's drinking coffee to stay awake. Like he is constantly just chugging that stuff down in general. So it's always interesting to see that as well. The back and forth with people, they're just having little comments, having fun and so forth as well. But Boba Fett, LV mentions is, hey, can we all just go watch a movie and then talk about it? Hey, maybe we can. Maybe we'll have a Nom Watch review outing. Who knows? Maybe a good idea. See what happens. Cause chaos in the town. I like that little wide boy. I saw that face. I like it. It was like a face of acknowledgement and excitement at the same time. But let's go see here. A couple of points here. Continuing on what we're talking about. But like I said, in regards to, I like the possibility that both of you are on opposing sides. Because if you think about it, on one hand, tons of people talk about technology and that in order to progress, we have to keep on going towards it and developing and kind of being there. And on the other hand, people always mention the less responsibility, or let's say the less power we give to ourselves or in our decision making makes us weaker and weaker as we go too as well. I guess that could be referenced in AI, but but I mean, honestly,
I didn't even think about it that way.
But like it's a side to each coin. Like both you make excellent points. I mean, how can you not like be concerned that you want your Amazon package at your door the next day and not have to sign a package? But at the same time, do you really want it at your door when it doesn't need to, hit the password code and just arrives at your window? It'd be kind of cool, but kind of scary. I don't know. I don't know, Chad, what do you guys think about that? When it comes to technology, would you guys prefer us to go ahead and still have delivery people being humans and we answer the door? Or would you prefer drones dropping it off at your door meaninglessly? And they already have your address. I don't like
this anymore.
You guys seen that scene in Parks and Rec where Ron Swanson actually shoots down a drone?
Yeah.
I feel like that
I can see that, definitely. That unfortunately be a little scary.
Yeah.
That would be me. I listen, now, I'm all for like optimizing like our systems, but very much am a fan of analog. There is something about me, like I'm definitely like elder millennial. I still have my CD collection. I'm not giving that up. I still have about 40 or so DVDs because I'm like convinced that they're going to disappear from streaming, or they're just not on streaming because I just do not trust streaming to get everything right. Which, by the way, French Kiss, that rom-com with Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline, can't find it anywhere. You have to buy the DVD. That's weird. I don't like it. But here's my point, that like I still have a distrust of technology, and maybe that's just because I am part of that generation that like remembers a time without the internet. And like I still remember, like, I don't know, man, I've been through the growing pains, I've been through the bumps, like, and yeah, I'm not there yet. If that makes me old and stubborn, I'm fine with that. I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
You know, it's funny you should say that though. Like growing up wise, I'm thinking about it. I've had moments, and I think this might be one of the reasons why I like really relate to this movie is, like I said, I have a fantastic family, fantastic friends. It's great. But growing up, I was the only child for like 10 years, and the internet was just created, and we had dial up, and not everybody, like if you wanted AOL, you had to be really rich or connected to some kind of government job. And, you know, so you listen to things like we just got like dish TV, but it was super slow. So if a rain cloud went over it, turned, knocked everything out.
Yeah.
And I remember I just wanted to like go on adventures or go find people. And then I guess seeing this film and seeing him by himself and wanting to do stuff, and he just wants to create stuff in his head, and he finally gets to go to time travel out of the middle of nowhere and then just go investigate and find his family. I don't know. To me, it just feels like, any kid that ever felt alone in general, and it didn't have to be family related. It just felt like this cool little adventure, kind of deal. So I can definitely, that's funny, Toni, if you didn't mention that going into certain things, because like, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that I like chatting, chat rooms, just Zoom meetings, you name it. I freaking love it. It's great. But I do remember a time where that wasn't an option and it would be cool to have it. So
you're right.
I definitely relate to that.
Yeah, like I enjoy my technology, but I just have a healthy suspicion of it.
No, totally. I want to come back.
That's what I'm saying. So
no, I understand. I don't blame you on that one. I want to hop back into the comments here real quick. Both LV says, I want people because I will forever feel like someone's watching me. I'm the weirdo that tapes paper towels over their laptop camera and all. But then again, I don't like people and want to live far from the city. Believe me, there's a lot of people that agree with you on that aspect too as well. Tiny Corn. Geez, Mr. Tiny Corn Dog's like, I might be watching you now. Lord.
Technically you are.
Nom Talk. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. But let's see here. Some other people making comments. That's just extra caution. I just don't want any Terminator danger coming into the technology world. Thank you, that one, producer Steph. Let's see here. People just having fun in the chat in general. Let's see, before I digress and talk more things here. Let's talk about the directing on the pace of the storyline and so forth. I know we talked about the beginning and the introduction of him being alone, him, being picked up by his future son, and just being, continue on the concepts of Goob and just, the great shenanigans they ran into, whether it was Tiny, the dinosaur, talking about, I know he's not Frank Sinatra frog, Frankie, but Frank, the frog itself.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
What do you, for example, Toni, what do you feel like the pace of the film? Do you think it was a pretty good one to you? Is it too fast, too slow?
I think there are times when it is just way too fast. And the instinct I had about it is a very pessimistic one. So I will, disclaimer that I feel very pessimistic about this.
It's okay. Please stop.
It felt like Disney's attempt at a DreamWorks movie.
Okay.
Because this is after Shrek, Ice Age, all of DreamWorks had finally been set up as an actual contender. Because Disney has seen a lot of animation houses just come and go. Like Don Bluth used to be a thing. Where are they now? Nowhere to be seen. It just felt like they were like, what just happens if we just put in a bunch of randomness? What happens if there are just references that maybe just be they're just a little too old for a really young audience? What if it's pop culture references? There's an entire kung fu movie homage in this movie for no reason, just because. And it just felt I enjoy those things, but it also was kind of this is different. this is different. And then when you find out that it was like apparently after a test screening, I guess it was John Lasseter who at the time was because this movie came at a really weird time when like Pixar was no longer animating for Disney, so then Disney had to reestablish Disney Animation Studios.
Yeah.
So I guess John Lasseter is the person that said like just gave a bunch of notes, and they ended up having to like basically redo about half of the movie, which tracks when you watch the movie because it does feel like you're just it's going here and it's going there. We had a moment and now we're past it, we're over
like
it.
Too random, right?
Really come back around, and sometimes it does come back around, and you're never really sure as to what was there to begin with and what was part of the reshoots, so to speak. Also, I think I'm very critical of animated movies just because I think the seams are very visible, especially once you start running out of time, you start running out of money, you start brushing up against a release date, and you just have to like get it done. So also part of that 4 out of 5 is just because it's like I really see a lot of good ideas that are taking form and that are just adequate enough, but there are too many that just really aren't taken all the way. And that really like, and again, because what's there is already so entertaining and good, like, do I care that the Kung Fu homage, like that whole sequence is in there? Like, I could have done without it, but I love that it's in there though, because it's so entertaining, it's so cool. And I love that there's just like a Disney movie that decided like, you know what, let's do a complete and total tonal shift. Let's just do a completely silly thing that doesn't really serve the plot of the movie whatsoever. Like, let's just do it. And it felt fun. It felt experimental. It felt like those tend to be my favorite Disney movies. Those movies that are always kind of like sitting at the weird, just like cusps and cross sections.
No, totally. Yeah. This is actually one of my favorite films. This is oddly, I love hearing this. This is weird.
Like, I love the 1960s like jazz movies, like 101 Dalmatians. I love Lilo and Stitch, and those whole like not quite CGI, not quite animation films. So I really do feel like this is part of that crowd.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that.
Yeah, but I feel like in terms of directing, it just feels like they were trying to keep the train on the tracks. And I'm entertained and I'm satisfied. I'm really curious what would have happened if you just allowed, maybe if we gave them another 2-3 years to develop it, like what would the movie have been?
See,
I don't know.
On that note, for example, Carla, would you think, as Toni stated, like these random moments, and it feels as if it may be too random at times, do you think the film itself would be the same if they didn't have some of these random moments in it?
It does seem fast-paced. I do agree with that. You know, I feel like they're trying to put in a lot as they can so they can make their idea, they can make the general idea there, like apparent. But it's not enough to actually support like the minor roles of the family and the subplot. And because, you know, we want to know about Goo, we're still left with, a lot of unresolved things. But I like it. I was like, well, at least I got this, so I enjoy it. I like the randomness of it. I like the quick readingness. Like, all right, tell me what you did. Tell me, because when Lewis finds out about the family, Wilbur's like, wait, what did you learn? Who did you see? And what did you hear? And it's like a quick pan to, well, this is what it is. Da 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 da. Cool. Continue. Da 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 da. I like the fast pace of the editing. Yeah. I think it's a comedy form in itself, just how a lot of stuff is, I think that was like one of the pioneer of the comedy that we receive now, which
totally.
And so the social media comedy that we see is like quick edits, like from one frame to another, it's complete different expressions. And that's, it's funny, like Turning Red. When like when she's drawing and when she's under the bed drawing and she makes this expression, it's like, oh, it's funny, it's quick. The fast pace I enjoy. I like it. Without it, maybe it would not have been the same movie, but I agree with Toni that it might have been more round. I think we would have gotten more conclusion. It would have been more whole. And in the animation sorts, I agree. I don't think it's definitely a different animation style. It's not like the Universal Man that you would see in Pixar, like in the Incredibles, or it's not. It's like a little rougher, if you will. to some people, because I was mentioning this to my friends, and they're like, oh, the animation's not really sticking with me. It's not doing it for me. I'm like, I can see that, it's not your like safe zone, Pixar, I can see that. But I think that's one of the reasons why I like it too. Those who like it will enjoy it for what it is, not because it's Pixar. Ooh. I said stuff.
I say I like that. I mean, I agree with you guys on that aspect of it. It's funny because my mind is cranking right now what I've been thinking about this film in the past, and it's been changing back and forth. It's interesting because I do believe that there's so many possibilities they could have had for this film. And now that both Toni and you, Carla, have mentioned that it seemed like there's missed opportunities, and Toni, I didn't know that they had to cut half the film out. I was totally oblivious to that.
I'm mad.
That being said, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, exactly. It's like I can that makes me go like, oh my God, I want more. Like there should be another film now. So that's definitely something I want to look more into, because I do believe there's other possibilities. At the same time, Carla, you mentioned that slapstick comedy that immediately back and forth is almost like quick cut edits. It wouldn't have been the same. You're right. I don't think it would have been in that regard. Maybe it'd been a little more cutesier in a sense, but I think they gave it more the sarcastic, like almost adult humor that it was definitely that was there. That whole classic dad joke-ish style slapstick that they had. So I definitely agree with that aspect on it. Let's see here. Just gonna check in on the comment section. Let's see what kind of shenanigans they are talking about. If they're with us. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. So we're looking at here in the comments. Let's start over here. Let's see. Boba Fett, LV mentions that, have you guys ever spoken about The Mitchell versus the Machines? That was an underrated movie. I liked it. Well, that is something we want to touch base with a little later for sure. Definitely excellent film. Producer staff has responded to that for sure. Let's see here. It has mentioned Carla. The poor Carla looks like her love for the film is slowly burning, but then immediately says, "Oh, false alarm. Her passion is there." Just kidding.
I was thinking that's my processing phase, but I'm glad that they care. Thank you. No.
That's awesome.
So someone said that Turning Red was the girl version of Teen Wolf of Michael J. Fox. That's very interesting. I've been looking into that. If we're doing a quick glance, I can see that. Definitely see that. Let's see here. Here we go. So Evan says, I wish they would play more with animation like Sony is doing now. And then one more producer, I want to see Town Talk about Turning Red comment. And for Town and for Toni Talk. Right. Okay. Excellent. So going back into this here, because we got about 9 more minutes here. I don't want to go ahead and run over too much. So real quick here, I'm gonna go ahead and say, I think we can all agree that the acting on this was, when it comes to the casting, it was fantastic. I mean, Adam West, I'm gonna go through these real quickly right here. If I have over here, let's go on the casting list here, just because the man, the myth, the legend. I mean, come on, how can you be like an intergalactic pizza delivery guy that stands for good? Oh my God, why not? Let's see here. So of course we got Tom Selleck, Stephen John Anderson, we got Wesley Singerman, Jordan Fry, great. Can't forget, let's see here, going into Harlan Williams, Nicole Sullivan, Angela Bassett. I mean, the names just go on. I don't think that they could have casted other people. I mean, if we're talking about a more modern film, maybe if they want to put some different names in it, I'm sure we can go into a lot of possibilities, but really that cast list, in my opinion, why change it? I
agree.
Let's see here. Now I want a couple things. I definitely want to touch base with this. I know we've been going on a lot of it. We got about 8 more minutes here, but so for example, I understand that we came in this, for example, Carla, you said that you had 5 popcorn bucket rating, correct? Toni, 4. Okay. So I myself, I'm gonna have an issue here because I'm going to do something that may shock you guys. I'm going
0.
to go ahead. No, not 0. I'm moving my 4 to a 3. Now,
whoa!
Exactly. Now, I will say this, only this. I only move it to a 3 because I want there to be a continuation of it. I would have kept it at a solid 4. I love it. I will keep watching this constantly. I love it. In fact, when I watched it yesterday, just to refresh my brain again, I just wanted to sit there. I want to keep watching. This is just, fun to put in the background. It's great. But the only reason I want to do it as a 3, is because I want more. I just wish there was, should have 3? Should have 4? I'm in eternal conflict. Anyway, I'll make up my mind later. Carla, is you still a 5?
I am taking in all the information, the valuable information that I received from you and from Toni. Listen, I feel like I should talk to her more often because she's just opening new doors that I've never even heard of. Seriously.
Toni.
I will. Now that we are looking at through grown-up eyes, when she said about the budget and I'm like, it makes sense. Yes, I can see it now. And now because of her, I will never unsee it. But but it's okay. It's okay. So I'm just gonna go, from a 5, I'm gonna go to a 4.9, just because of that.
Okay. All right.
But at the end of the day,
and honestly, you can keep it a 5 if you want to. I see confidence. It's okay.
No, because of that. But at the end of the day, I will watch it whenever I need a new cry, like a good cry.
So
my God. Once you hear the ding, ding,
Yes.
the at the end, you're like,
God dang it. That's such a good
He's about to get
soundtrack. Why,
adopted.
Toni, why do you gotta mention the soundtrack?
I'm like, oh, so no. 4.9 because of that. I'm like, more at the studio. That's the rating for them. Like, get it together, give us more. It can be a Disney Plus animated show. Why couldn't it be that?
I like that.
Cheaper
That
by
could
the
go
dozen.
far. I know, right?
Like, why can't you give us?
Toni, I'm gonna move over to you before we get attacked by the secret police.
Yeah.
Even though Carla, I may agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my score. 4 out of 5. I like the movie. I love the movie. I cry every single time at the end. I love that they even had a moment to tie it all back to Walt Disney himself. I think that's just exactly where I sit. Anytime that you can bring it back to something bigger and something that we've all heard that quote, and the fact that we went through the entire movie hearing keep moving forward and we didn't make the connection until just that.
That's a good point.
The fact that there's so many moments like that throughout the movie. It's like the unicorn binder that's at the end whenever they're trying to find Goobian at the end, and all that they can find is the unicorn binder. That is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The fact that in the middle, when Goob is just talking to a steak, Mr. Steak, you're my only friend. I still say that to this day. There's so many moments like that throughout the movie where it's just these amazing genius moments of just really touching moments of heart, and it's poignant even though it's silly and ridiculous because it's a unicorn binder. But I am still, for all the reasons, I'm still upset that this isn't a series. I'm still upset that we don't. What is up with Petunia? What is the deal with Petunia? Because she has children and she's a puppet, but she went for a drive, and that woman is clearly on a drive, but she's a puppet.
They don't say a puppet.
They don't.
They don't say. Is Petunia a little?
She's cranky.
She's cranky.
Yes.
Which
So
is
amazing.
Because
she
they
accepted to be a puppet, but we don't know what her
oh my gosh.
Very progressive.
See that oh man.
There's so many things I want to know about. And there's a dog with glasses. What's the dog about? I don't know. There's so many things in this movie.
Oh man.
What is that about?
God.
More.
Well, it definitely creates
great.
a conversation, which makes it a great movie to just even, go over. So I'm glad that I got the opportunity. I really am. That, especially you guys. Okay.
Totally. Oh gosh. But no, I mean, I agree. Man, I'm gonna have to hop back on this in a short time here. But okay. I'll keep it at a 4. The only way that sucker's turning to 5 is if I can go ahead and get more. The reason why I'm saying this, you guys are bringing up such great moments, but to me, I just had a glance in the chat reminding me, one of my favorite moments was literally the Frankie moment of them singing, music just before dinner. And not only did they sing music before dinner, it wasn't forced or wasn't coerced. They had fun doing it. Then they took their little froggy legs and they were at a frog bar at the house, chilling. Like it wasn't like, oh, we're stuck doing this. So to me, when you got frogs that have an option to go chill in a lily pad lake and they decide to go ahead and create a bar in your place because your vibe is that good, tells me. I know. So dapper.
So
slick,
more
and
bars at the
man.
workplace.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. More bars at the workplace.
Exactly. Shoot. I love it. I love it. So we got about 2 months, 2 minutes here left over here. So let's
2
go on.
months.
Going on to 2 months. I was like, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I'm sorry. But before we go, guys, once again, I really appreciate you guys joining us here. Carla, where can we go ahead and reach you when it comes to any social media?
Any social media. Man, I blank.
Okay,
Instagram.
sorry, no worries.
On Instagram, carla.isabel.38. That's me. I share stuff about astronomy. I love science and I love the stars and I love space. So you'll find me just sharing stuff there. And soon I will Twitch my gaming, because whenever I get not shy, I will share that with you guys.
Okay, cool. We're looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to that. Toni, how about yourself? Where can we find you on the social webs?
I am everywhere at the Toni Sanchez, but to be honest, that experience is a little varied depending on where you're at. If you're on Twitter, it's just mostly a lot of like anger towards Ron DeSantis because I am originally from Florida. So if that's your deal, like go for it. Instagram, I'm not creating as much content as I used to because I really got into the whole social isolation of the pandemic. Like I really enjoyed it. So I think I'm still trying to like hang on to it for as long as I can, but I will be at WonderCon this weekend.
Heck yeah.
So I don't have a legitimate reason to stay inside my house anymore because we all got vaccinated or whatever. So I have to go outside again and it's awful. But yeah, at the Toni Sanchez, Toni with an I, Sanchez with a Z.
Excellent. All right. Well, guys, you can find me on Instagram at IAMCOWIE. I am Cowie. Do a lot of social media videos over there, shenanigans and so forth. Well, we appreciate you guys. We're running out of time today. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on our Facebook, and well as here on Twitch. All our platforms are going to be at Nom Talk Network. Thank you to our producer, Stuff in the House. We appreciate your help today. Thank you very much. Tune in for the next show. What are we doing in the next show? Tomorrow, and it's Moon Knight. Excellent. A little excited to see it, so you guys can tune in that too as well. So until then, I'm your host, Alejandro Cowie, and you have a nomorific day.
Bye.